straight pulling wire along this line. Pull that out, and then I'm going to put it down this line and pull the wheel arch right. Once the lines are right, then I'll start pulling this area here. Now, the setting that I use for this is probably a little bit too high. All you're really adjusting here is time. So I'll put it here at about if that were a clock, that's 12 o'clock, I'll put it about 10 to. So the machine's on switch is at the back. Plug in jack plug here, this stays in all the time. Attach your earth, connect to the cable and your jack plug. Find your line. Now it's important when we're doing it that the line is followed. If you're not careful about it and you're going just off the line, so for example, let's say it was good and I put it half down here and half over there, you're not going to get the job right. You're going to be pulling here and going. But it's amazing how many people do that wrong. You'd be surprised, you'll be right, don't worry about it. So I try to usually just trace it so that I get it absolutely perfect. So you just place your tip in, start in the dent, major area. Now don't be afraid if you go off what looks like the line, you stick to the actual line. We'll worry about that last little bit later on. This line's a bit easier to see. Yeah, you just want to find where you want to put it. I'm going to pull this one here first, so I don't really care because it's got to get repaired later on, so I'm going to stick that there. Now if it's been cleaned up, sometimes it doesn't stick as well, usually you'll find it'll be okay. And then this one here I'll just put on the tyre, just undo that down there a bit lower. So because we're doing a slightly bigger area, I use the wider one down here on this. So the idea is you put the most affected area first. So you just got to get your feet right. We can move this up a bit higher. Always stick to the edges of your panel. Make sure these are flat. Okay. Now we'll probably need a little bit more of a pull later on. We'll just get it started now for now. The idea is that we work it out gradually. Don't try with the slide hammer and do the big rip, and it's all ready to fill up. The first part takes the longest. It feels slower. Because typically as panel beaters we whack something on and we go crack, 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 crack. It's all back out, we feel good, but it takes a couple of hours to shrink it all back down, especially something stretched this badly. So the idea is to take it a little bit easier, get it right, and you'll find that you've got half the amount of filler and half the amount of work later on. It might take us a good 20 minutes, half an hour to get all the shape right. Who cares, mate? You've got heaps of time on a job like this. And over pulling that, we'll pull here now, and then we'll get working on this section. I think I've got a lot of the relief of that, now we can start doing that. Give it a couple of taps. So now I'll try and leave that there while I pull the rest up here. Got the general shape right though, through there. I just want to get that out now because we've got a twofold problem with this dent, in the sense that it's that we're just holding that, and then if you just keep going with that, then this is going to be knocking around. Now we'll do one big pull, but I know we're going to end up going with the narrow one and ironing it out. So we'll do it anyway this way. People stress out too much about the feet. Put some pressure on it, then you can jostle them around a bit, and then it's not going to keep falling off. Like now I can actually let go of that. Alright, so now I'm just putting pressure on the leaf. So it releases one at a time, so you get that pressure without stretching. Because now you've got all your hide that's still there, and this is why I wouldn't have cleaned it up. I know I would have done exactly what you did eventually, but the best thing we could have done is just clean those lines up and clean that gap. You'd be blown away because you can see where you're tapping and ties and all that sort of thing. It makes it a little bit easier. See, as I release it, it just comes, it stays out, it gets all loose again. What's that?
Like it's still got to come in quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just releasing it as I tap. You can see it coming nicely. We'll do another one there in a minute, but let's get this front section. And this is the beauty of this, you don't ever get to do this with a slider. You're just pulling it gradually and doing it right. Now we're starting to pull too much, so it's just a bit too much there. You can actually back it off and go in a little bit. We need to overpull it just a bit. Reuse your wire. Now we're just going to change this over. We've got to pull some more lines a little later on, but I just want to get this general shape right in the top section. So pack that one away, we put the pull flex on. Connection in. So your tip needs a little bit of a clean up. Put this tip back in. You want to have it so that it's going to pull beyond the two flat sections. So when you're setting it, that's too far, you have it so its full max is about equal with the inside of that. Yeah. Put this in here. Right, and that's about it. Once you've done that, try it again. Now, the way to not have that burn out so often is turn it right down to its lowest setting. If it's not sticking at that, it means you haven't cleaned it up properly or there's a bit of zinc or crap on this. Right. So as you're going with this, you can put it on exactly the high spot. That's just a bit of the leftover zinc from the, bit of the paint strip. That dent there is pretty much, you've got a good shape right through there. A little bit of a high, but that's because you hit the mould and got a high there, so I'll pull that out and shuffle that around. Now if it's not sticking like that, it just means that in there, in the furrow, you've still got some zinc. You've only paint stripped it and then buzzed it. You can turn it up. You can turn it up just a little bit, but you only want to turn it up marginally. You don't want to start cranking it up. If you're right up high with this, where the fact that you got that blue, it wasn't sticking any better anyway. Dent. Now the key here is to resist the urge to just grab it and rip it out. Do it as you go, iron it out, right, and hammer it as you go. That's starting to come out really nice. Now if it does that, you can give it a bit of a clean up file in there. Give it a bit of a clean up just to keep maintaining it. Right. You can turn it up just a slight little bit. And if it's not, I'm going to have to clean the zinc off a bit better. See, I don't keep just pulling it. A lot of the urge is to just get it and go rip in one hit. You don't want to do that because that's when you stuff it. Gradual pulling is the best. Now I'll open this up a bit. You've got this hammer here, which is good. Get right in there. You'll see the whole area is starting to come out now in uniform because we haven't tried to force it in one hit. And what that'll do for you later is cut down a whole heap of shrinking and stretched material. Now because the dent's not as sharp, we can reduce this down in size a bit. Need a bit of a tip clean because of the amount of zinc there. That'll be okay. We need some material. Like really, and you think about it, when we first started doing this, it felt like it was going nowhere. Really, I've only been on it for half an hour. So here you might want to reshape it. Put that there like that. It's actually reshaping the line. It's holding it over the metal. That's got to be that line. You need to re-hammer bend it, like by using this, pull there and then hit the high and pull.